G'day mates, it's the Doctor here, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to tackle this subject matter. I'm a firm believer in the phrase vote with your wallet, and I'd rather be voting for timeless characters to be faithfully translated to cinema format rather than portrayed by current day celebrities. However, if I were to make a discussion about this, there is no better time to address it while it's hot and new, and I want to stick it to Disney to send a message they are no longer the immortal empire they confuse themselves to be. With the Super Mario Bros. Movie reaching the $1 billion mark, this could send a signal to Disney they need to wake up, smell the roses, and go back to what they used to do best, producing quality content. Maybe not. Look, the point is, I watched the Mario movie, I gave it a fair shot, and advise you to proceed with the following protocol until all matters on the issue have been addressed. So what does Thomas the Tank Engine have to do with voiceovers? The simple fact is, Thomas has never had a definitive voice. Britt Allcroft wanted this show to be told like a bedtime story, similar fashion to the source material parents would read to their kids. Whether she realized it or not, the message was anyone could be Thomas. Your parents, your friends, your celebs, yourself. By going with a narrator, none of the Thomas characters could be identified by their own voice, which proved to be beneficial in the way of recasts, fan content, and redesigning the characters when they transition to different eras. Think about how many characters you can identify for their voice alone, and every imitation of that character is going for the same delivery, professional or satirical. Thomas isn't confined to those restrictions, which makes it easier for audiences to connect with and safer for studios whenever they want to reimagine the IP. At least, in the voice department. The lore is a bit tighter than that. Sonic is similar to Thomas in many ways. An adolescent blue boy with a dash of red who has no shame in making a mockery of others while possessing a heart of gold and has been played by many actors. I don't recall if it was a reaction to Sonic being recast as the movie was coming out, because as a Sonic fan, we were used to it. Characters that undergo constant recasting lose any value in their voice because there's no reason to get attached to those vocal cords when it's inevitably going to change again. If someone was to ask, do an impersonation of that blue puffball or that other blue puffball, would you even be recognized? While it could be argued having no restrictions to what a character sounds like makes it more timeless, they lose that uniqueness. Alright, the trailer's out. Let's see what the new voice sounds like. I think we've got bigger problems! Terrifying design aside, Ben Schwartz was a brilliant choice to play the character. He's far from the first, but his charisma, teenage-like persona, and what was that word? Attitude! Schwartz wasn't even a household name. As he mentioned in interviews, he was brought in for testing purposes, yet the studio saw a matching between him and the character the more they listened to him. So despite his lack of fame, Benny's portrayal was well received and the live-action Sonic went on to receiving positive feedback. Again, Sonic may not have a distinct voice, but as a familiar performance his voice actors aim towards, and Ben Schwartz captures that familiarity brilliantly. What I'm saying is pre-patch movie Sonic gets 2 out of 3 right, while Illumination's Mario gets 1 out of 3 right. Now let's talk about why Chris Pratt doesn't work as Mario. Chris Pratt has been in a lot of things. Warner Brothers, Sony, Universal, Amazon, Disney, Disney again. The only studio that hasn't hired Prattman at this point is DreamWorks. I'm not saying Chris has no variation in his performances. The crux of the matter is because he has played so many characters that sound so alike, it makes Illumination's Mario sound generic. Which is never what you should be thinking of when you hear the name Mario. He's an iconic character because no other characters out there sound like him. He's light, he's humble, he's enthusiastic, he's animated? None of that comes across in Pratt's performance. It's a clash of mismatching elements where it's a realistic performance for realistic animation, but not for stylized, exaggerated animation. To get a better idea of this, let's compare this moment from the American version to the superior French version. This is just a guy letting out a deep, exhausted sigh. He sounds annoyed, which doesn't convey the slapstick that preceded it. Whereas in the French version, The voice is reactive to the character's motions. It's more woozy, which is also another character trait from Nintendo's icon. In fact, the French version all around is better.
Meow.
Ah! You got the cat box!
Meow.
Excuse-moi. That's a little mushroom man talking to me.
C'est un petit Madame Champignon qui me parle.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia.
Side note, the reason this has taken longer than initially is when I found a French version of the film, I did not realize it was the Canadian French dub. I will show you samples, except there's not much point since I wanted to imitate the American version, taking sound bites from the English dub, implementing them into their dub. Can you tell the difference? When I realized I had the wrong version, my mind exploded larger than the bonsai bill.
Game over, Mario.
I don't understand the sentiment, the original actor is only known for quick shouts and sound bites. Charles Martinet is an actor because he can act. He even plays Mario's dad, so he is clearly capable of talking, and if a French can make Mario sound like Mario, why not America? Another point of contention is the design. Oh, the design of Mario is great. Size, outfit, proportions. The nose is smaller, but I think that's to showcase the facial expressions better without hiding too much of his face. The problem is they are trying so hard to capture Nintendo's original designs, they want you to think the games are leaping onto the screen, which makes it even more jarring as soon as Pratt in the Hat opens his mouth. But is it just me, or does 3D Mario look more 2D than 2D Mario? I can hear Fraser's critics sobbing away in the darkest corners at the nearest Maccas. At least with Sonic, they were going for a different take on the character from what we've seen of him, so a new voice for a new design is more welcoming. Same with Jim Carrey's Eggman. He may be thin as a twig, but his wacky acting, elastic face, and uptight personality was enough to capture the essence of Sonic's nemesis. Oh, bug of his industry is fatphobic as Anyway, the reason the Mario trailers did not receive the same pushback as Sonic is because it did just enough to sell people on the film. Better designs, better music, better world aesthetic, and unlike Ben Schwartz, which prior to Sonic I'm not sure how many people cared about him, Chris Pratt is well known among mass audiences. He is certainly not a Funimation actor. He's the type of bloke you want to invite to a Barbie, crack a beer with, have a good time, hang around, and hang loose. But I wouldn't cast Jason Momoa to play Spyro the Dragon either.
Redheads! You gotta love them!
Or who knows? Maybe they would have deflected the criticism, minimizing the reasons to toxic trolling or something. Isn't that right, Angry Joe?
Oh,
There you go.
we were not wrong. I'm proud of you guys. You guys are starting to wake up. I'm actually curious. Did this thing get down? Holy sh! I didn't think it was that bad.
I just don't think.
Or are there bots like blowing this up? I'm proud of you guys. You guys are starting to wake up. Or are there bots?
To make things more perplexing is Illumination's formula on animation. They seem to have a good grasp on character designs, but their casting can be best described as randomized. Sometimes they strike gold, other times they miss the mark. But in this instance, if this happened to be a conscious decision, I must ask the filmmakers, why? Why would they choose the wrong actor to play one of the most easily recognizable characters that should be impossible to muck up? You worthless, weak little... Shigeru Miyamoto said it's been a collaboration between Nintendo and Illumination, meaning they've had to approve the casting themselves. It's the same attitude Hideo Kojima had towards David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake from Metal Gear. They want their characters to be bigger for the sake of being big. The J.J. Abrams approach. All body, no soul. I know ripping on Disney Star Wars isn't so much beating a dead horse as it is stepping on dry bones, but they really are the best examples of the worst business practices. Charles Martinet won't be around forever. Rather than bringing in Chris reverse balding Sabat, it's best to make with what you have, because once what you have is gone, it's gone forever. As for the rest of the movie, my thoughts are the same as everyone else. Animation was top notch, the music was wonderfully recreated, Jack Black was brilliantly cast as Bowser only because he was putting on a different performance. The story, though thin, was functional enough. The pacing could use an extra 20 minutes. Moving the release date to Easter was a clever marketing move. There are Easter eggs galore, which makes the movie a game in of itself. And Peach was not another Mary Sue we all feared she would be. That being said, what would have improved her character in the movie is if they kept this 3-second shot from the trailers where she is seen helping Mario but clumsily stumbles. Not only is this a display of her compassion in helping others instead of laughing it off, it demonstrates how the princess is not perfect at everything she does. But this is not the only thing better in the trailers. Why are the sound effects weaker? Geez, I guess that's another reason to praise The Last Wish. It's only a rumor, but it's worth mentioning Nintendo requested Illumination to wind down the girl power in the script, and if this rumor turns out to be true, good on you, Nintendo. I'm glad you have respect for your waifu. Had the superstar himself been the star of a Super Mario Bros. Movie, the film would have been an 8 out of 10, marking a change of things to come when it comes to video game adaptations. But he wasn't, and the movie could go stuff itself like a chicken dactyl. It's like if Nathan Drake was played by Tom Holland, or if it did that, or if Abel O'Neil was played by Megan Fox, or if it did that, or if Shaggy Rogers was played by Will Forte, or if it did that, or Buzz Lightyear was played by Chris Evans, or if it did that, or Darth Vader was played by Adam Driver, or if it did that, or if Batman was played by George Clooney, or if it did that, or if Captain Marvel was played by Brie Larson, or if it did that, or if Thomas the Tank Engine was played by She Who Shall Not Be Heard. Some people just don't fit the bill. For all the jokes of the French throwing their hands in the air, America should yield to France. And that is going to be the end of the video, but before you go, my 1,000 subscriber Q&A is still ongoing, so if you'd like to ask me a question, get a conversation going, click the link in the description, follow the rules, and the deadline has been extended to September 30th. But what did you think of today's discussion? Does the Super Mario Bros. Movie set a good precedent for video game adaptations, or a bad omen for classic characters brought into modern days? Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you like to see in the Mario sequel? And until next time, take care, mates.